Shalom. Giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rechak Wadash. Bill bonus to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations toward the tabernacle of David, of the hopeful elect that are scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, as y'all ready, you ready for it to start getting real? It's finna get real thick out here, man. Which the prophets have warned, and we can't turn back prophecy. All right. And here we are. Now it's about to get real interesting, man. So you got these set of unrighteous decrees that was authorized by Donald Trump as you being passed through the Senate, the big beautiful bill act, and it's gonna fuck a lot of people over. The only ones that's not gonna hurt from this is the wealthy, the super rich, and the major corporations, which is owned by the corporate elite. But everybody else, it's finna hurt. All right. So they just passed it, and you had your man DJ Trump. He had some things to say. All right, after this bill had passed through the Senate, this is what he had to say about people in the country. All right, and this is in general. He narrowed down to just the people in general, not even dealing with the illegals anymore. Now pay attention to this real quick.
I'd like to say, a little controversial, but I couldn't care less. We have a lot of bad criminals that came into this country, and they came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen. It was an auto pen maybe that allowed it to happen, and it did happen. But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here, too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together. But I think getting them out, we forget about them. We had some bad accidents in New York, and they're not accidents.
So, if you can read between the lines, if you really is paying attention to what this devil is saying, he's saying basically, it don't matter if you was born in the country or not. Even if you was born here, you've been here for a while. If they detect any type of incitement, if there's any violence, if you're deemed a threat to this establishment, then they're working on getting rid of you too. So it's not just left to the so-called illegals. That's basically to anybody. So this is where we at with it, man. All right. And let's get a couple precepts. One, let me go to this one in Isaiah 19, because this was prophesied to happen. It's Isaiah 19 verse 4. It says, "And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts." All right. And, he doesn't care that, people are getting snatched from their families, right now, because you got a lot of migrants being snatched up by ICE, and they're being put on cargo planes. And they're reporting that these cargo planes are flying over the sea, flying over deep waters, and bodies are dropping. And they're finding these bodies washing up on shore with these with shackles. All right. And the cruelty of it all, right? So you got alligator Alcatraz in Florida, and then you got these cargo planes. So they're basically saying right now, pick which one. All right. Which one? You want to get, sent by plane and possibly dumped in the sea? Or do you want to get sent over to alligator Alcatraz, where if you think you're gonna escape, you're gonna fall right into a swamp filled with alligators? So you can get dumped over by a cargo plane, or you could be alligator bait. Pick one. You can't tell me that that's not cruelty. All right, and that's exactly what Trump is in office right now. He's that cruel lord. All right, and that dragon is definitely speaking. He's speaking as a dragon. All right, draconian, very tyrannical, very fascist. All right, and we told you about this, man. So let's go to Isaiah 10 real quick. Because this big bill, like I said, is going to fuck most of the people over, the citizens and everybody that's dependent on Egypt, which is why we always go into that in Isaiah the 30th chapter. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. And this is when you put your trust in man and not in the Most High. This is what happens. You idiots that voted for Trump, I know you feel real dumb, right? It's Isaiah 10:1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. It was already pre-written before it got authorized. All right, now it's being passed through Congress, through the Senate. All right. It says to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. And this is what you call framing mischief by law. All right. So what I did was I went into Chat GPT and I asked, what must Americans know about this bill, which we went into it, back when it was introduced. All right. And now it's being passed. So it says, and I also asked, what are the cons to this bill? It says the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, often referred to as Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, includes sweeping tax cuts and major policy changes. But it also has significant drawbacks for many Americans. Here are the key cons. So it's getting ready to hurt. And remember, the prophecy said we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Take balm for her pain. For we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. So there ain't gonna be no healing. There ain't gonna be no ease, or none of that. All right. So shit is finna get worse and worse, and that's those birth pains. That's that travail. So one of the things to this bill, cuts to Medicaid and food assistance. We told you women for the longest. And you women that are super proud and arrogant and living very comfortably, the scriptures told you, rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters. Many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women. You're going to start lamenting for the teats. So here it is. It says, millions at risk of losing coverage. The bill imposes work requirements 80 hours a month for many Medicaid recipients, which could cause 7 to 11 million Americans, mostly low-income adults, to lose health care. And that's pretty much going to increase to more death. More sickly Americans that's going to basically die because of no access to health care. All right, it says SNAP food stamps tightened, expands work requirements for adults up to age 64, and adds more state-level administrative hurdles, likely reducing benefits or access for millions. This is what happens, man. Matter of fact, let me get another script. A lot of you people thought that Trump was going to get in and then he was going to be the opposite effect to Biden and was going to make things better. But all they do is alley-oop to each other. Babylon is continuing to bury itself. Is getting buried further into the ground. And each president, no matter which side they come from, they're there to basically help bury it even further into the ground. All right. So let me get this scripture real quick. I believe it's Proverbs 25. Let me see. Proverbs 25, and this might be the wrong chapter. Hold on. Yep. Proverbs 25, verse 19. It says, confidence in an unfaithful man in the time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. You know, and that's like you're not going to be comfortable at all. All right. This is in the NLT. It says, putting confidence in an unreliable person in times of trouble is like chewing with a broken tooth or walking on a lame foot. All right. And you have to feel this level of uncomfort while he has to serve his overlords, his Zionist overlords, where he got to make them more comfortable. All right. More of your money got to go to them. They got to fund the genocide that you see happening on that side. He got to fund their military industrial complex. That's why they're withholding money that would go to this whole green energy initiative. They're basically refraining from that to actually put money towards the Golden Dome or more fossil fuel, because hey, when you're in a time of war, you got to rely on fossil fuel. All your equipment relies upon fossil fuel. All right, gas, energy. Okay. So yeah, this is gonna hurt a lot of people, man. All right, and they expect civil unrest to unfold because, you know, once these cuts go into effect and a lot of people are without, people are going to take it to the streets. That's when we're going to see, you know, instability. This is when you're going to see more insurrection. All right, and not these funded, sponsored protests that you see. All right, like with this the latest example with those ICE protests. You got them going out there and, you know, causing havoc. But a lot of those people, they were hired. They were hired agent provocateurs. But when the people start to really feel this effect, people are going to really take it to the streets, and it ain't going to be just holding up a bunch of signs. People are going to be desperate to eat. A lot of people without work, more homelessness, more soup kitchens, and then those soup kitchens, all right, those food banks, they're gonna run out of food, and then what? So this is the second con. It says tax benefits skewed toward the wealthy. While many Americans get small tax breaks, the biggest benefits go to high earners and corporations. All right, this is you know, part of that shift. All right, to get all of the wealth into the hands of the super rich. All right, and matter of fact, let me get this real quick. Let's go to Job 20. Yeah, this is Job 20 and 15. It says, he have swallowed down riches and shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. You know, because this devil, he didn't swallow down riches. All right, he does it through, you know, his credit-based, tax-based system, through the banking industry, which is very corrupt. He set up these corporations to you know, pretty much make big bank through these key industries. All right, and he exploit people through labor, cheap labor, and then he also defrauds the people as well. You don't get paid over the same day that you do your labor. He holds it, and then he taxes you upon it. It says, he shall suck the poison of asp, the viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be. Everything that he's took, all right, everything that he got in his possession, which was, based on fraud, through robbery, genocide, all right, debt. It says, according to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein, because he have oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because he have violently taken away an house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly, he shall not save of that which he desired. All right, because the Lord's going to visit this man. All right, if I can, let me get this also in the Apocrypha. Let's go to... Go to the book of Sirach. I think it was Sirach 35. Well, I'll read these. I'll read this. This is Sirach 35. And in 13 it says, he will not accept any person against a poor man, but will hear the prayer of the oppressed. He will not despise the supplication of the fatherless, nor the widow when she poureth out her complaint. Doeth not the tears run down the widow's cheeks? It is not her cry against him that causeth them to fall. He that serveth the Lord shall be accepted with favor, and his prayer shall reach unto the clouds. The prayer of the humble pierceth the clouds until it come nigh. He will not be comforted and will not depart till the Most High shall behold to judge righteously and execute judgment. And Esau, he's very unrighteous, man. All right, he oppresses the poor while he exalts the rich. He boasteth of his heart's desire, and he blesseth the covetous. So this is what they do. This is the lot of the righteous. That they have to, suffer and deal, in a lowly condition, while the ungodly is prospering in their riches. But we can't fret ourselves because, hey, this is all part of prophecy. All right. The Lord's eventually going to, take them out. And like it says in James, the 5th chapter, about how the rich man, his riches is corrupted and moth-eaten. And the Lord's going to visit him, all right? Because it's all, kept back by fraud. And when you defraud the poor, let me see if I can find that as well. I think it's in 30. Yep. Sirach 34 and 21, it says, the bread of the needy is their life. He that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood. And that's Esau all the way. All right. His whole system is based on, fraud. All right. Unjust balance, deceitful weights. And he wants to tax the hell out of you, man. It's all a form of oppression. All right. You're taking away their support. So it says, the bread of the needy is their life. He that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood. So Esau is a bloody man. All right. And he's willing to do that to make the rich even more rich. It says, he that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him, and he that defraudeth the labor of his hire is a blood shedder. All right. And that's Esau all the way. And that's what his unrighteous decrees, that's what it entails. So it's going to be a lot more homelessness, a lot more people in poverty. And hey, you know, it's going to lead to a lot more death. People without health care, people already sickly. The quality of your food and water is deadly. So this man, he's going to continue to, you know, get it by any means, though it be wicked. All right? Because he's a bloodshedder. And the soul that is in him is not upright. He can't do nothing right, man. That's why what we've been telling you about these devils, man. If not where and who is he? He's clearly showing you his horns right now. What he's doing with these migrants. All right, what he's doing with, you know, the people that uphold this society, which is basically the poor, the laborers, the toilers. They're the ones that uphold this society, and they get fucked in the long run. So, hey, this place couldn't go soon enough. That's why we hastening the coming of the day of the Lord, man. So Americans get small tax breaks, but the biggest benefits go to high earners and corporations. A state tax exemption raised to $15 million. Large capital investment and pass-through deductions expanded. Adds 2.4 to 2.8 trillion to the federal deficit. So more trillions. That means that it's going to be more inflation. It's going to hurt your pockets. It's going to affect your currency, your purchasing power. All right. So you're going to need more hours in order to sustain your living situation. And guess what? These businesses, these companies, they're not going to fork out more money. So that means that people are going to be getting cut. Either they're going to reduce hours or they're going to have to make cuts. So that's why a lot of people are getting laid off. And then not to mention AI replacement. And this was all mapped out by the elite, the secret councils of the wicked. So you got the healthcare system strain, the Medicaid cuts and potential hospital closures may increase ER visits, unpaid bills, and public health risk, especially in undeserved areas. It's going to affect mainly you tribes. You're the main ones that can't even afford this health care. So more Jacob's going to die. All right. So this is what the beginning of sorrow is going into the time of Jacob trouble look like. All right. Rollbacks on clean energy and climate policy, which is, you know, that whole climate change agenda that was all set up by the elite. All right. Biden and that whole administration, all these so-called Democrats, you know, they were all for that agenda. All right. The Republicans, you know, primarily, you know, the Trump side, you know, they're trying to pull back from that because they want to supply and fund their military industrial complex, especially since Israel needs more support than ever now that they're in this conflict with Iran. All right, and then eventually they have to face Russia because of Iran. They're to back Iran. We know that the prophecy in Ezekiel says that Russia has to be a guard unto Persia. All right, and then they're also having conflict through NATO. So it's very imminent that America's going to have to face a direct war with Russia. So that's why they're going to pull back from the energy agenda for now and put more money towards defense. You know, more missile technology development and more missile defense technology. And that's and who's going to fit that bill? Yeah, you guessed it right. Taxpayers. All right. It says eliminates or phases out most clean energy tax credits for solar, EVs, wind, batteries, reducing incentives for renewables. Climate goals jeopardize, could increase fossil fuel reliance, pollution, and emissions just as global climate crisis worsen. Well, hey, the war that's getting ready to be fought is what the scriptures say about that. Isaiah 9 and verse 5. And it says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So we know that war is on the horizon, and it's going to end in thermonuclear war. Nobody wins that war. All right. It says consumers may face higher energy costs in the long run. Hey, that's your electricity, that's your water, that's your your heat, all of that. Okay. So your bills are gonna go up. All of this, man. Student loan burden increases for all you college-bound people. And then you finna put yourself in a hole in debt only for you to come out and be unqualified for jobs. So you're forced to work entry-level jobs even with a degree. So you can't afford nothing. If you living single right now with one income, you damn near homeless status right now. Especially if you living in states like California, if you living in New York, all right. You living in certain parts of the Midwest, you gonna be hurting, man. Harsh immigration measures, this is what we're dealing with now. It says funds massive expansions in deportation capacity, including $1,000 asylum application fee. And the enforcers, the agents that they're going to be using to enforce this, they're going to be incentivized. All right, so they're going to be hungry to go after these migrants, and primarily right now the focus is on you tribes. Started with the North, and now the focus is on you so-called Haitians and you so-called Jamaicans. So they finna start coming after y'all too. So this is we not coming into that time of trouble, man. It says aims to deport 1 million people a year, which could disrupt families, harm labor markets, i.e. Agriculture, the hospitality industry, dealing with your hotels and the travel industry. It's going to affect that too. Who's making up the beds? Who's going to be your maids? Put clean tiles in your bathroom. Who's going to do that? Who's going to be in your farms? Cheap labor. That's yeah. It's going to get crucial. It says and strain immigrant communities. All right. So you're missing out on all that labor. But hey, Esau, he already got it planned out. Well, we got something for that. We got what you call AI. All right. So they're doing this while also making that transition into this MOTB system. All right, where everything is going to be biometrical, digital, controlled under a technocracy, with full surveillance 24/7 over every being walking the face of the earth. Exploding federal deficit. The bill adds nearly $3 trillion to the debt over 10 years. If interest rates rise, the burden of servicing this debt could force cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and other key programs later on. Trump accounts favor middle class, not poor. And it just goes on. Who could be harmed? Likely harmed, low-income adults, college students, clean energy worker, consumers, undocumented, and asylum seekers. Not the South Americans, though. It's like your South Africans, not the Ukrainians, but you tribes, though. All right, rural Americans and future generations. So there you have it, man. So let me get this. Matthew 21. It's like your 24 and 21. And it says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days shall be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. All right, let me get the one in Jeremiah. Yeah, it's finna get crucial out here, man. Jeremiah 30 in verse 5, it says, for thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and of not peace. Ask you now and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. But he shall be saved out of it. And the he that shall be saved out of it is the Lord's elect, his remnant. And the Lord's going to bring them through that fire. He's going to be directing and guiding them. All right, in the time of trouble. But 2/3 of our people, you're going to be numbered, like it says in Jeremiah 15. Such as for the sword to the sword, such as for the famine to the famine, such as for the captivity to the captivity. If you end up in alligator Alcatraz, hey, you're pretty much detained in captivity. All right. So yeah, is where we at with it right now, man. And eventually they're going to persecute the prophets. You know, Trump was going to find a reason to silence us and to try to get us off the streets and go after us. And hey, you know, we got to be willing to suffer for righteousness' sake and to step out on faith. Some of us are going to be beheaded. Some of us are going to be some of the devil shall cast you into prison that you may be tried. 10 days will be faithful unto death, and the Lord will give you the crown of life. So we understand all these things are going to come, man, because it's all Bible prophecy. But either way, you see who's in power. You see what he's doing. All right. And this is just the beginning. Okay. So I hope you Latinos for Trump, you niggas for Trump. You know, I hope y'all happy. All right. This is what you get for putting your trust in man, especially the devil. All right, because you trust in oppression and perverseness and stay the run, there shall be as an iniquity, as a breach ready to fall. All right, when it fall at a sudden. So here you go. So with that, I'm gonna give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And to the next lesson, Shalom.